You talked about wanting to get your injured players back. What's the team news for this weekend? Have you got anybody back or any fresh concerns?
Well, yeah, Ryan Bertrand is back and becomes available after the virus. So that's great news for us. We'll assess him over this next 24 hours just to see where he's at in terms of game time. Apart from that, it's pretty much the same, really. Yannick won't make it for the weekend. And then we'll assess, hopefully, him and Jonny at some point. He'll be back in training next week.
Obviously, going down to 10 men didn't help, but what do you want to see differently from your players this weekend? You're looking for a quick response?
Yeah, I think it's something where the game, from our perspective, we didn't meet the standard that we would want, even with 11 men. The organisation with our team was nowhere near what we would want. The principles of what we've played with here over the last 2.5 years is about defending the space as well, being aggressive, defending forward, moving forward as a team. And we were nowhere near that level. That's the reality of it. But that's the beauty of working with this group of players. We can be very honest in our assessment. The spirit will always be there. You see the players fight towards the very end. And like I said, they gave everything to get to 2-1. And then we conceded the 2 other goals after that. So yeah, but I don't worry about the mentality of the team, the spirit of the team, but certainly the principles of our game we need to return to. And if we can do that, or we will look to do that, then of course we've shown consistently that we can be a very good side.
Will there need for stern words from you for your team?
No, I'm always honest in my appraisal with the players, but they're accepting of that. They know when they fall below the levels, but no, the case is to, as I said, it was a disappointing result for us. Of course, losing the man is never easy. But we've had situations like that before where we've won the game with 10 men. So I don't like to use the excuse of that or not having the players available. We weren't so good in our game, just the structure of our game, too much space. And if you give too much space to good players, they can punish you, and that's what West Ham done.
Norwich have had a difficult start, but a good midweek for them in the Cup. Do you think that will have given them some confidence coming into this weekend?
Yeah, I think 2 tough games away at Liverpool or home to Liverpool, and Manchester City. It's a tough start, but as you say, played well in the week, and we'll gain some confidence from that. And yeah, we arrive into the game knowing that it's going to be a tough game. Daniel's teams are always very positive and they work well, and they've got some really good players. So we'll have to look to control that. But of course, for me, it's looking at our performance and really making sure that if we can perform to our level and the ideas of how we play, then we always have a good chance of getting a good result.
Just finally from me, very early days, but from what you've seen from your team so far and all the other teams as well, is it going to be harder than ever to break into that top 4? You've been so close last season. Is it a realistic ambition again now?
Well, it's very early. We're 2 games in, so I always say you assess after 10 games, see where you're at, and then you then look forward from there. So, but like I said, still so early in the season, so many games to play, and so many ups and downs over the course of this season. For me, it was getting through to this international break, and where the players' fitness will develop and increase. And then we come back after that, and then have a push again to the next international break. But anything away beyond that, it's there's so much to play for.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks, Kirsty. Thank you.
Hi, Brendan.
Hi, Becky. Okay.
Yes, good. Thank you. Hope you are too. I just wanted to get your thoughts on, do you think this could be one of the most competitive seasons that we've had in the Premier League for quite a while?
Yeah, I would certainly say so. I think that all the top teams, most of them certainly have invested in bringing in real top class players that can make a difference for them, and that's 2 squads that are already very, 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 very capable. So yeah, if you look at the level of the squads, and I'm pretty sure that it will be.
Well, we've got plenty of other competitions coming up. What's your initial reaction to facing Millwall away in the Carabao Cup in the third round?
Yeah, always a tough game. I haven't been back there for a while. I think the last time I was there I went with Swansea when we were in the Championship. So and that was a tough game that day. But now Millwall home or away is always a tough game. But we'll look forward to that when it arrives.
And then how much of an eye have you got on the draw that's taking place tomorrow for Europe? And what are your hopes and expectations of that alongside the Premier League this season? Yeah,
well, we want to challenge, as I said, in every competition. We were in a good position in it last year, and then we had a spell where we had a number of injured players, and the reality was we looked to prioritise our league over the Europa League at that time. So I'm hoping that, fingers crossed, we can have a squad that can stay as fit and injury free, and if we can have that bit of luck with injury, that allows us to challenge in every competition, and that's something that we've always done since I've been here, whether it's the League Cup or the Premier League or the FA Cup. We've always tried to be really competitive, and we will look to do that in the Europa League as well.
Lovely. Brendan, thank you very much.
Thanks, Becky. Thank you.
Okay, Jason Bourne for TalkSport.
Cheers, Anthony. Good afternoon, Brendan.
Hi, Jason.
You talk about Jonny Evans there. It was interesting to see he was named in the Northern Ireland squad earlier this week. Was that a surprise at all to you?
Yes and no, but I'd spoken to Ian last week, and I think it was only I think Jonny was in the squad in that sort of scenario where if he had made a miraculous recovery, but the reality was he was never going to be fit. So he won't travel. He's doing very well, and he's rehabilitation, and hopefully we can get him back into the squad for training at some point over the international break. But yeah, I understand where Ian was coming from, but he will stay at home.
You've mentioned the number of injuries over the last year or so a couple of times in this press conference already. Now, what do you think the reason is for that? You talked about potential bad luck there. Is it maybe due to the workload? Is it bad luck, or is it just something else?
No, well, I think if you look at the injuries, you look at Wesley Fofana, there's not a great deal you can do about that. Which is an absolute shame. Jonny's obviously been out since the FA Cup final, so he hasn't worked with the squad for a period of months now. Ryan Bertrand was the pandemic, the virus, so that has put him out. And obviously, we've had one or two other little niggles. So I don't think the workload at this stage. I just think that we've had. It was an awful bit of luck with Wesley and Yannick. There was nothing in the situation where he sort of just tweaked his knee, but thankfully that doesn't seem too serious. So hopefully after the international break he'll be ready. And as I said, Ryan's now available, so that will really help us.
Just on Soyuncu and following his performance the other night, I mean, I don't particularly want to pick on him necessarily for that. We know how good a player he can be alongside somebody like Jonny Evans, for example, with that leadership and that experienced head alongside him. He does seem to struggle at times maybe without him. Does he need that type of player, a Jonny Evans type of player, to get the best out of him, or can he perform without somebody like that?
I think every centre-half, if they're not a talker in the game, then they need to play alongside someone who is. And I think Jonny is, whether that was here with Harry Maguire, whether it was with Cags, whether it was with Wesley, Jonny is the talker in the back line. Your two centre halves, so your tactical decision makers in the game. And they're so important because they dictate the depth of your team, and that's something that we've looked at from the game the other night. You have to be communicating. You have to be shortening your pitch as a back four, and that was the big problem for us the other night. And when you don't do that, you see what can happen. You leave too much space. And this game is about when the opposition have the ball, denying space. And for the likes of Cags, it's something he's still a a player that hasn't had a lot of experience in this league, but he's obviously played over a season or so now, and or a couple of seasons. So that's something that he will improve on that side of his game. So, yeah, if you're not playing beside someone who's talking you through the game, then you still have to be able to lead your team, and that's something that he knows he can improve on.
And the final one from me today, Ricardo has been named in the Portugal squad. First time in such a long time for him. Is this testament to the hard work and coming back from that injury, the full pre-season he's also had behind him to get back into that international setup?
Yeah, no, it's great for him. We've all seen his talent, and it was such a shame when he got injured, and then it was a long way back. And then the last season, he wasn't quite up to speed, but he's, as you say, Jason, he's had a good pre-season, worked very hard, still got, a little bit to go. But you start to see that quality and that inspiration he gives the team when he's playing well. So yeah, delighted for him, and it's another step back on his recovery.
Cheers. Go well on Saturday.
Cheers. Thank you.
Brendan, good afternoon. I wonder whether I can clarify something you said regarding a player returning to training. I think you said next week. Was that Jonny Evans you were hoping does return to some form of training next week, or was it Yannick?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, both of those. Jonny hopefully towards the tail end of next week, and Yannick also.
So Yannick's knee, you said to us, I think on Monday, that he was hoping to train yesterday. Were the results of yesterday, it's okay and he is okay, or does he need a bit more rest?
Yes. Yeah, no, he's with the medical team, and we're hoping to get him out onto the field next week.
How's James Justin? Because I guess his recovery's coming on. I remember you saying that sometimes these guys are ahead, sometimes they're behind, but James Justin was champing at the bit to get back. How close might he be?
Well, we're looking at some point in October with a bit of luck. I think he looks fantastic. He's worked so well, and the medical team and the sports science team have been delighted with him. And as you'd expect, he's not missed an opportunity to work and get himself back. And of course, we can get him back. That'll be like a new signing, because he's such a talented player. So yeah, he's worked tirelessly. I've seen him in the gym. He looks very strong. He's doing a lot of strength work on his legs. So yeah, that'll be great. If we can get him back in October, it'll be a huge boost.
Very versatile as well, isn't he? And he offers a lot going forward as well as a defender. On injuries, Brendan, is James Maddison 100%? I ask just because against West Ham, I don't know, he sometimes just looks a little uncomfortable. Is he 100% at the minute?
No, to be fair, I don't think there's too many of the players that are 100%. I just think it takes you a few games to get up to speed. And of course, when you're down to 10 men for a large part of the last game, then of course it becomes that little bit more difficult. But that's something where I think all players at this stage of the season and the clubs, they're edging towards their full fitness. And but yeah, that's something that I think with James, he's getting there. But a few more games, he'll be right up to speed, I'm sure.
But his hip's okay.
Yes, yeah, he's fine. Yeah,
good. You spoke with Kirsty about Yerry's contract, and he's got 2 more years here, and he's not one to rock the boat. You did mention 3 or 4 weeks ago that there were talks with his representatives. Have they progressed, and are they progressing, or have they, if by association, if not, then they've not? What's the situation with those?
Yeah, I just think it's ongoing. So John will speak to Yerry's representatives. And that's as far as where it's at. Ian.
Okay, understood. You mentioned some players and playing time and the windows closing. I'm interested to talk about Hamza Chowdhury, a player that you've spoken about in the past, and you said you've been very honest with, and he was very honest with you regarding his future, regarding playing time. Is he a player in the coming days, if there were options for him that he would like to explore and the club may explore in terms of releasing and freeing up?
That's something that we would have to wait until something would come in. There's Hamza's his attitude and mentality has been first class. And there has been a lot of speculation around him going out and various clubs, but at this moment in time, we haven't had any offers in. So, and to his credit, he's been absolutely first class in training. He's even though he hasn't featured, and it can be difficult for a player because you train to play the game, but he's understood where he's at. He's maturing all the time as a professional and as a player. So yeah, he's just training away until anything comes in. Then that's how it'll be.
When you're considering who to replace Iosi Perez because of his suspension, what are you considering in terms of who? I don't mean names. I mean, what skill sets? What are you replacing in Iosi Perez for the suspension?
I think what we're looking at is again someone who can look to penetrate with and without the ball against the Norwich back line. Someone who can deliver quality and someone who can press the game when we don't have the ball. That's very important. So we have a number of options of which we could put in the team to do that. And yeah, I still think it was unfortunate, Iosi to be sent off. I know the contact didn't look so good when you just slow it down and look at that one image, but he's out. So we this is the idea of having a squad we can bring in players to replace. So yeah, so those attributes is what we would look for.